Well, once again, a very warm welcome to all our members that have joined Neptune, even the ones that weren't able to introduce themselves today. Once again, thanks for choosing our group. And I do sincerely hope that you will be welcomed warmly by all the other members as well and be able to develop business together, of course. Moving on to our next segment, we have prepared or we've worked on a panel discussion. This panel discussion is basically a three-question format with me asking questions to three other panelists. So I'll be introducing the panelists now. We have Alvin Ling, the managing director of WorldLink Cargo from Malaysia. They have been with Neptune since 2017. Then we have one of our founding members, Vivian Castellino, the regional director of Frontline Logistics. Frontline Logistics has several offices registered in Neptune, including their Kuwait office, UAE office, Bahrain, Oman, Iraq, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. And lastly, we have Jeff Clayton, the pricing manager of Lavenstar America, our Neptune member in the US since 2018, out of New Jersey. Good morning from Canada and good evening to Alvin. Good morning. I believe it's still in New Jersey as well. Late morning, if I'm not wrong. And Vivian, good evening to you. Thanks again to you all for joining today. First of all, we've all been going through very strange times over the last 18 months, and the situation keeps on evolving. Now with the new Delta variant, we wanted to get your opinion. How does the Delta variant actually affect the reopening, and more specifically, how does it affect your local business here? Maybe we can start with you, Alvin. How does the Delta variant affect the reopening of the world, and does it have any impact on your business currently? Alvin, please unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Alvin. Okay, first of all, I do believe the Delta variants do affected the whole world, because it's not open for traveling, and then there's no face-to-face interactions, and then there's no like close relationship between like when we meet each other face-to-face. Definitely there's a different feeling. So I think it do affected, okay. And then for local, I do believe that we do affected a bit, but it's not really affected at all 100%, because logistic line still needed by all these the market. So in logistic line, we still can survive. We can say that we are lucky on it. Okay, so the worst is because we can't meet customers, and then all the customers, they are worrying about the virus itself affected each other. So they only can allow for calling, and then I think even though by Zoom also they're not really workable at all in local Malaysia. So it's only by the call itself. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Alvin. Jeff, how is the situation in the US right now with regards to Delta, and does it have any impact on your business? Please unmute yourself. Sorry, Jeff.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think each individual area and each country, and sometimes even within each country, sometimes each state or province has their own different, restrictions and capabilities. But I mean, I think luckily we all work in a time period where we can do things like this. We're still able to communicate at all times, whether it's face-to-face virtually or, the technology allows people to work at home, which even 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't be able to be doing all this that we are now. So for the most part, I think, we're still able to operate in a pretty good capacity. I know for Lavenstar, we've had a very good 2021. So, I mean, we're working, while we're not working normally, we're still working at full strength in terms of what our capabilities are. Hopefully, as the vaccine is more available around the world and more people, get that. Hopefully, we can do this more face to face in the near future. But I think luckily we're all able to stay afloat and move cargo as we need to during this time, just because of the technological capabilities that we have now. So hopefully, like I said, as the vaccination rate increases and climbs country to country, the capabilities are only going to grow, and then we can even do more business face to face.
Thanks, Jeff. Yes. And how is the situation for you, Vivian?
Good day, Niels, and all the other delegates. I wish I could say that Delta variant will not affect the world. So that would have been an ideal solution for all of us. But unfortunately, since 2019 December, from the first wave that we have faced, we have gone to the second wave, whatever name that you may call Delta, or the third wave, and we are talking about fourth wave. Travel is still restricted. I went to the airport 3-4 times and I came back without traveling. That's a fact. So definitely the present situation will continue for a time, at least for a year or so. And if I can speculate, I would say we should be learning to live with Delta or COVID-19. It's like what we had smallpox or chickenpox, what we had malaria before. So this is going to be with us, I think, for a period of time. And how do we keep safe, especially with the vaccination that are developed throughout the world? That's the sad part, because I have read even in the modern world, people are hesitating to take the vaccine. So that can be one step behind, because we need to, at one time, I believe we need to trust the doctors who have invented this. And I can also relate you to India, one of the biggest markets, where there are frequent lockdowns, there are frequent shutting of the businesses, the ports. So according to me, it will continue, and we should, as freight forwarding and console community, we should try to continue or to live with this reality. Thank you.
Thanks, Vivian. Yeah, that's a good point. I think learning to live with it will be definitely an important mindset, rather than trying to go against it or trying to hope that it'll disappear. Of course, we don't know what the future will bring, but we can adapt, we can stay safe, and we should stay safe, of course, with all our capabilities and move on with our lives, right? Just probably not exactly in the same fashion as we were used to 2 years ago. Moving on to our next question, Vivian, maybe if we could stay with you. In current times, how do you manage your sea freight space situation? We've all heard the horror stories with container shortages, with vessels being blocked in the Suez Canal, and so on. And it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. How do you manage your sea freight situation?
After 44 years of freight forwarding in the industry, I feel this is not the right time for me to be in the industry because of this question. Because we are having around 500 people in all our offices, around 200 of them salespeople. Now I'm afraid to see them. I'm afraid to meet them, because while I have given the target to them, so how do they achieve? How do they achieve the target? Because at 8 o'clock they get the rate, 12 o'clock in the afternoon they confirm, and 4 o'clock in the evening the rate has changed 3 times and 3 folds. So that's a very, very serious situation. And I actually want to listen to other panelists as well, what would be their reply onto this question. But what I tell to my salespeople is the situation is real. The situation is not only for Vivian. That situation, same situation, that question that you asked, is for A, B, C, D, or all over the world. So very true, we lose customers which we have built for the last 20, 30, 40 years. And there is nothing that I can do, because customer takes a decision on the spot. When you say the rate is changed 3 times, the space is not there, and for 1 month, 2 months, the container is not moving, the commitment is not met. But the silver lining, which I would like to share, what I tell my team is, likewise, the other freight forwarders also is having customers who they might have lost for the same reason. Because it's not that Vivian is facing this problem alone in the world. All of us are facing this problem. So knowing that I'm going to lose my existing customer, why not I target the customer the other freight forwarder loses? We are even. So while I don't have a direct solution to the question, but that's what I tell my salespeople, because there is gain to be made from others' losses as much as others will make gain from my losses. Thank you.
Absolutely. Alvin, how is the situation with containers and sea freight in out of Malaysia?
You means export? Okay, for export side, basically, Malaysia do face the same issue. I think the whole world is facing the same thing. But for us, we are consolidation, so we do a lot of full box and nomination. What we do is we do face the space issue, but what we do is we contact all our overseas agents like Europe, maybe US agents, to get the contact for the full box rates. So they will give us a sales contract rate. Then we will try to log in, and then we try to secure the space. At the moment, we still manageable, okay? But what we see at the moment, we still can survive because of our agents' help on it, because they do give us some, space allocations, not because of the rates, but it's because of the space itself. So
I think,
yeah, we still can manage it, yeah, at the moment. Yeah.
So the point that you're driving at is it's especially important right now to be able to rely on one another, to support each other,
Yes,
right? In
yes,
this
yes,
situation,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is why we're all here, right? If there's one thing we can do, then as a group, as a network, then it's to support one another, of course. Jeff, how is the situation with you? And maybe you can give us also some insight into the local trucking situation in the US, not only sea freight, but how does the trucking situation look like in the United States? I'm hearing that there's also a lot of shortages with regards to trucking.
Yes, that's probably the biggest issue that the United States is facing. I mean, space, just like with many areas around the world, is an issue. How we combat that is we encourage everyone to kind of, and I know sometimes in this industry it doesn't work that way, but we try to encourage everyone to book their cargo as far in advance as possible. And that way we can, secure the space on the vessel that they want for this particular sailing that they want. And that also gives us as much time as possible to coordinate with the truckers. In many areas of the United States, you can't get a trucker at a good rate, at least for sometimes 3 to 4 weeks. So that is probably the biggest challenge in the United States right now. But like I said, how we try to combat it is we try to book our cargo as far in advance as possible so that we can arrange the trucking in a timely manner. There is a trucker shortage for various reasons. Some reasons are not just global, but the way that the pandemic has impacted certain areas here in the United States. But I mean, we rely on our relationships too. We work with a lot of different truckers, and we have good relationships with all the different steamship lines. So sometimes when we are in a bind and we need help in a certain area, we have to pick up the phone and rely on those relationships, whether it's with a trucker or with, our rep at a steamship line who can kind of get us space when sometimes it's not readily available. There's no blanket solution for everybody, especially in like larger countries with the United States where different areas are impacted in different ways. But we've been managing pretty well with finding solutions. And I mean, just to reiterate, I think the main thing is booking cargo as far in advance as you possibly can. And that gives our team as much time as possible to work out all the problems. And that way, when it's time for the cargo to finally move, we have all the solutions in place.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Yes, indeed. I think those points have been made very clear. Important as much as we possibly can to book ahead of time. A slightly different subject with regards to working from home. Are you still working from home or partially working from home, Jeff, or are you back in the office full time? Do you think that remote work will continue as a means to be able to, let me say, work in the future? Does that work for you? Do you still work from home, or how's the situation?
Lavinstar is doing like a hybrid model right now. We have team members in the office a couple days a week, still mostly working from home, especially now in certain areas of the United States. The cases we have a pretty good vaccination rate. The cases are still going up in certain areas. So everyone in the United States, not just Lavinstar, is pretty much doing some type of hybrid model, I would say right now. Okay. And to be honest, I think that's kind of going to be the way forward on a somewhat permanent basis. I think a lot of companies have learned that you can work from home productively. Sometimes you even get more, I think, accomplished if you have people are more readily available, especially if they have good setups at home, everything like that. So I mean, I don't think it's going to be a full-time work from home thing ever, but I do think that a lot of companies have learned that you can work productively at home. And I think that probably will be a part of our future. But I mean, only time will tell, who knows? But I think with technology being what it is today, it does give people the capability to still function remotely. So, I mean, for right now, though, I think we're all kind of sticking to a hybrid model and going into the office and meeting face-to-face when we can, so that we still have that face-to-face dynamic, because I think that's a good thing. But I mean, working from home, luckily with the technology that we have, does work. So
yeah, absolutely agree. Alvin, how about for you? Do you work from home or also out of Malaysia?
Okay, in Malaysia, actually there's a lot of system. Obviously, previously last year, we had to force to work at home about 40% to 50%. But the government keep changing, so it's about 60% we need to work at home. But lately, everything is back to normal. So currently, our staff all work fully in the office. So if you talk about remote, I do believe that we can work remotely at home, because all the staff, they can team view back our system. They can communicate through form and handle everything through online and through communication. Yeah.
Okay. Vivian, how about for your company and your group of companies in the various countries? Do your team members work from home, or is it a hybrid model like Jeff has explained to us?
So last year it was totally work from home, except for operational staff who had to be at the airport or in the port. I'm speaking on behalf of Dubai as well as other GCC countries like Bahrain, Doha, Kuwait, Iraq, Beirut, and Oman. Presently, in this part of the world, most of the population have got double vaccination, mostly Pfizer. So that has made the government to relax the rules and to make sure that people will go to the office. So it has become normal, especially here in Dubai. Also, as you must be knowing, 2020, which is starting in October 1st. So government wants to give that feeling that everything is normal. So guys like you can come here and conduct the conferences. So that's one of the signals over there. But to your question, do I believe the remote work will continue? If at all something positive has happened out of COVID-19, I think this is it. None of us would have thought a little more than 18 months back that it is possible that all of us can sit at home and do our work efficiently. For example, myself as a regional director, I was traveling around 27 to 28 days in a month. Only 2 or 3 days I was in Dubai. That's because I have to take care of 22 offices. Whereas in the last 18 months, except for once, I have not traveled anywhere, but I have done my job as effectively as before. So definitely 100% this remotely working system will continue. And when the business normalizes, this also will be a factor to many of us in cost saving, because when you work from home, obviously the salaries also might be reduced. In fact, as of today, 6 of our staff have opted to work from home so that they can spend more time with their family, children. So it is already happening. Thank you.
Yeah, I agreed. I think it's important also. It has done something. I mean, there's a silver lining. It has done something good for family relationships on one hand, and on the other hand, we were forced and thrown into this work from home situation, and shown companies that we're able to work from home actually productively. That has certainly benefited many of us, especially the ones that travel a lot, like Vivian. And many of us in our industry travel a lot. Of course, we do miss the travel. We do miss the connection with friends, and it will come back. I believe we will be able to travel again, but maybe instead of doing those 10 business trips a year, we will do only 5.